What we're going to be doing now is we're going to be figuring out how to, given an angle, find the ratio. So it's ratios given an angle. You're going to be given an angle, and you have to figure out what the appropriate trig ratio is. We're going to have to define something pretty important first, though. So what we have is, there's our angle. The green is the angle in standard position. And we're going to call the angle that is between the terminal arm and the nearest x-axis, we're going to call this the related acute angle. So it's going to be acute because it's less than 90 degrees, and it's going to be in some way related to the green angle. So the blue related acute angle is related to the green angle in some way. And depending on the quadrant you're in, depending on the quadrant you're in, this could look pretty different. So for example, in the third quadrant, you can see I've drawn it. Initial arm, terminal arm, and the related acute angle is between the terminal arm and the nearest x-axis, not the y-axis, nearest x-axis. If you're in the fourth quadrant, there's the angle, and the related acute angle is again between the terminal arm and the nearest x-axis. I didn't actually draw one for the first quadrant, but if we had drawn one for the first quadrant, the reason I didn't draw it is because it's a little bit not exciting. If this is our angle, then that's the related acute angle. They're basically in the first quadrant, they're basically the same. Okay, and they could also be even bigger than 360. So for example, if we have one that's, so now we've gone over and we're back in the first quadrant. Now this is the related acute angle. It's the angle between, still, the terminal arm and the x-axis. Okay, so let's say, for example, we want to find the related acute angle for these angles over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch them. So 112 is in the second quadrant, and this is 112 degrees. So how am I going to find this angle over here? Well, the whole thing is 180, that's 112. So my related acute angle is going to be 180 minus 112. 180 minus 112 is 68. So if an angle is 112, then the related acute angle is 68 degrees. If it's 71, well, that's not that exciting. That's in the first quadrant, which means that the angle and the related acute angle are just the same thing. So for this one over here, the related acute angle would just be 71 degrees. Not too thrilling at all, but important to know nonetheless. 194, that puts us in the third quadrant. So there we go. So that angle over there is 194. The related acute is between the terminal and the nearest x-axis. In this case, the whole thing is 194. That top bit is 180. So the blue is going to be the whole green minus 180. So the related acute angle is going to be 194 minus 180, which is 14 degrees. So if the angle is 194, the related acute angle is 14 degrees. And presumably this last one's in the fourth quadrant. So 283 is indeed in the fourth quadrant. And the angle looks something like this. And the related acute angle is between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So it's going to be the whole 360 minus the 283 gives us the blue. So in this case, the related acute angle is going to be 360 minus 283, which is calculator time for me, which is 77. So the related acute angle is going to be 77 degrees.